So first, eliminate or quit the things that you no longer want in your life. This is going to be hard, but you need to do those things. First thing, quit the job that you hate. Quit the job that is no longer bringing you fulfillment in your life. For example, me, when I was working in this retail store, in my early adulthood, I had to let go of this job because they wanted me to work even though I was studying and, trying to, live this life that I wanted, live a purposeful life. I had to let this go so that I could live my life. If you let go of this job, maybe you have less income, but you still need to let go of this job because this will bring you the most happiness. So you have to cut away this job and be willing to make space for that new job or that new career path that will make you happier. And for example, I even quit my job later again. Later when I was working at this bank, I had to quit this job entirely so that I can live up to my vision of a simple life where I do what I'm passionate about, which is this YouTube channel. You must also look at all the responsibilities that you have, maybe social responsibilities or certain hobbies or certain things that you pursued that no longer fulfill you. Must quit those as well. For example, when I was 17, I was studying the piano to do these exams and all that, and I was studying really hard to please my parents and to please my teacher. My teacher really looked up to me as her best student, and then long story short, I pretty much almost bombed the exam and my grades were not really good near the end, and I was really resentful. I was really unhappy with pursuing playing the piano because I was no longer playing the piano for myself. I was now playing for my parents or to make my teacher proud. So I had to quit all of that in order to pursue my own life and to pursue Nameless, to pursue doing the things that I love. I had to quit something that I thought was dear to me that was no longer dear to me. I had to cut it away and risk my parents not being happy and my teacher not being happy. My teacher, she wanted me to keep going to the recitals, go to these piano recitals, that maybe I should play a song or two. I told my teacher that no, I was no longer going to go to these recitals, and in fact, I don't care. And I had to let that go, and that made her sad, but I had to risk making her sad so that I could live my life. Not only the activities and the responsibilities, but you must also be willing to cut away the old friends that are not fulfilling you. So first of all, you cut away the toxic friends. That's a no-brainer to me. Determine those who are toxic, are not helping your life, and you cut them away. Second, you look into your friends, your old friends, all of your friends, and you commit to cutting away or spending less time with the friends that are no longer fulfilling you. For example, my high school friends, they're not bad people, but we just don't relate on the same level. We can't really have this deep conversation on personal development like I can do with my close friends. We don't really relate in that sense, and for that reason, I spend less time with them. And then thirdly, you want to determine who your close friends are and spend more time with them. The next step to living a simpler life is to say no to everything that does not fulfill you. Say no to living up to your parents' expectations and other people's expectations. If you spend your life trying to live up to your parents' expectations, you're not going to be happy. I remember I was reading this comment on Reddit on this guy who wanted a fulfilling career, but also wanted to please his parents. I asked him, hey, would you rather please your parents or would you rather have a fulfilling career? And I told him, you can't have both. You can only have one. Which one would you rather do? And then he replied to me, well, that's completely impossible. I live in an Asian family and it's completely impossible. It's not going to happen. I need a fulfilling career and also I need to make my parents happy. And I told him, well, until you can sort it out in your head that you can only get one or the other, then you will never find fulfillment in your life, period. You need to choose what is most important to you, because most of the time, what is most important and fulfilling to you isn't to your parents, and that's totally fine, but you need to reconcile this fact. Otherwise, if you're always trying to please someone else, you will never please yourself. Which leads me to my next point, is that you have to say no. You have to completely stop people pleasing. And, doing those favors for all those people or all those friends and getting out of your way to pick up that friend who doesn't have a car, or like do this thing, or like pay for that thing for that guy who whatever thing. And you just have to say no. Say no to it and say that you don't want to do it. And you have to relentlessly say no. Now, the problem with that is that some people, they might see you as rude, they might see you as careless, but that's one price to pay for your peace of mind. And here goes my philosophy on helping others and on pleasing others. I don't help other people really much. I don't do favors really much. But at the same time, I don't expect other people to do favors for me. In fact, because I'm self-sufficient and I try to take care of myself, I will only ask a favor if really need be, if it's really necessary. It's very rare now that I ask favors for people. And when I ask favors to people, they entirely have the right to say no. And when they ask me a favor, I entirely have the right to say no as well. There are no hidden obligations. I don't obligate someone to help me, and other people can obligate me to help them in return. So that's my philosophy. Take it or leave it, but I believe that on this foundation, you can maybe consider or reconsider the time you've been spending trying to help others or like pleasing others, and go back to pleasing yourself, helping yourself first. As it comes to your career, you must be willing to say no to your boss. Say no to doing overtime, and say no to working on call and all of these things. Now, yes, maybe it's necessary for your job, then maybe, and if this is causing you stress, then the bad news is you might have to quit that job. Of course, if you're okay with that, if that makes you happy, then keep it. But the chances are that you have to learn to say no to your boss more often. Me at my old job at the bank, I remember I wasn't being super social. I wasn't being really interactive with others. I was just going to my job, doing my job, and leaving, because I didn't care about making friends there. In fact, I didn't really relate with the people at my job, so why have chit chat and small talk with them? It made no sense to me. My boss told me, hey, so I noticed you were quite, you're not really implicating yourself at the job and like talking to other people and like, contributing to the team meetups and all that. So I'd like you to contribute more. And I told my boss, well, no, that's not really me. I go to my job and I do the things that I like to do. And if I don't want to be social, I'm not really going to be social, and I'm sorry. And I told that to my boss. He actually respected me more for that, and he respected my personality and who I am as a person, and he accommodated himself to me in a sense. Of course, maybe it's hard to do if you're newly hired for like a week ago, but when you're a bit established with your job, which is maybe your case if you've been, working the maximalist life and, optimizing your career, you're probably at a place now where you can afford to have your talks with your boss. If you've been at this job for a few months, even a few years, then you can probably do something like that. So be willing to say no to your boss and have those hard conversations if need be. You must 100% stay true to yourself, to your real self, and say no to ever giving into social pressure to conform or be like everybody else. For example, I told you the example, right? That my boss called me out that, he felt like I wasn't being super extroverted. So I told him, you know what, that's not me. I don't want to do that. Even coworkers at my job, they used to ask me, hey, so I see you're often eating by yourself, or I don't know, I see you that you're not really interacting with us and all that, and why don't you join us? Why don't you talk to us? And it seems like you're really serious at your job, that, you're just way too serious. What's wrong with that? What's up with that? And I told them, well, that's just who I am. I enjoy doing my job really well. Any job that I do, anything that I do in my life, I want to do the best with the best of my abilities. I don't believe in slacking off, even if it's just flipping burgers. I'm going to flip the best fucking burgers out there if I have to do that. And I tell them that. I tell them, you know what, I'll talk to you if I want to. If not, then I don't know, I'm not the super social type and I don't need a lot of friends. I'm happy with my friends. And I tell them that. And people respect me more when I say things like that. They seem to respect more my boundaries, even my boss. So you have to be so true to yourself that you'll stand out from the rest. You'll be the black sheep. There's something to it. There's something to the Sigma grind set, if you know the meme. There's something to being true to yourself and doing what you want that will make you the most happy.